Happy New Year and happy end of the regular season as we get you set for the NFL playoffs. Right here on episode 221 of the Kirby on Sports podcast. You don't want to miss it. What up, what up, what up? Episode 221 of the Kirby on Sports podcast. We have reached playoff time. As always, a huge thanks to our sponsors, PM Plus Reserves, Shenandoah Primitives, Transformative Alignment Group, Mark Francis with Icon Real Estate, Barrett, Pest and Termite Services, Mark Lynch with Guild Mortgage, Shenandoah Music, the Cider House off East Piccadilly Street in Winchester, Virginia, and Don't Sleep Energy, the official energy drink of the Kirby on Sports podcast. It's a lot of fun. It's snowy weather outside. Perfect evening to record a podcast. And I have one half of the three-man booth, the Weapon Dan Dembski. What is going on, my friend?
Trying to stay warm, man. Trying to stay out of the snow. And it's crazy. The season is behind us now, and I think it's officially winter as well. We've been waiting for that first snowfall, so it's finally arrived.
Yeah, it feels really good until you're shoveling a driveway and then you slip on a black icy hill roadway and just fall flat on your rear end. It's a wonderful feeling. So
at least it wasn't your ankle this time. Consider yourself lucky.
Yes, that is true. And another gentleman.
If you smell what the Rock is cooking.
Thank you. That was a wonderful introduction as I am.
Shut your jabroni ass up! Ain't nobody want to hear from your sorry ass trying to steal my gimmick. Nobody respects the cream cheese loser over the Swiss Army knife, baby. Don't ever try to steal my gimmick again.
Let's go. He's back. He's back, ladies and gentlemen.
I just had to play around. We all know Carlos is the number one OG, two-time reigning, defending Kirby on Sports PickEm champion. Just had to put that out there, but that was pretty funny. I wonder if I just put a solo layout and see what would happen. You know, obviously Carlos with the spot on reaction, because we all know nobody can replicate how great Carlos is. So, Carlos, what's up, buddy?
Next Monday Night Raw, where The Rock will be live from Los Angeles on Netflix, baby. I'm excited.
Do you like it on Netflix?
We haven't seen it on Netflix yet.
No,
so I can't tell you if I like it.
Do you like the fact that it's on Netflix? I
don't give a damn, bro. I don't care. I don't care where it is. I have it. I will watch it. People who complain about, this is on this streaming service. This is on this. You guys are dumb. You guys already have that streaming service anyways. Why are y'all complaining? We already pay out the wazoo as it is. Who cares?
Yeah.
Happens.
Yeah. Well, gentlemen, I'm glad you're with us. Happy New Year. Happy Snow Day. Happy Black Monday. We already have some head coaches getting fired.
Got the X. Yep.
Yeah, you got that, including Gerard Mayo, too. Gerard Mayo, Doug Peterson, among some names. But the big storyline, Brian Dable, he is safe. I honestly
That's
cannot
not the big
believe
headline.
that.
That is not the big headline at all. Like at all.
Yeah, it's not surprising
At all.
It's a
Like
headline to me.
that- no, it's not.
How
It's
can
not
you
even
how
the
can you
big
blame
deal.
how can you blame him
Go ahead,
for what
Dave.
has happened there? How can you blame him for what's happened there? Like he has they have just built a god awful team and expected him to
No, I think the big
somehow
storyline
coach him
coming
to
out of
be
New York is
successful.
that they kept the GM, the guy who let Saquon go
That's it.
for Daniel
That's it.
Jones, and then they cut Daniel Jones.
That's it.
And he got his job. I don't care about Dayball. Dayball was coach of the year not even 3 years ago. And then since
Exactly.
then has continuously gotten a crappy roster. We've seen him being able to coach a roster to the playoffs that shouldn't have been to the playoffs when he won coach of the year. We know Dayball's a good coach. It's just he hasn't had anybody.
Yeah. It's a bad team.
So to me,
It's
that's
a really, really
not a
bad
big
team.
headline.
And that's on the GM.
The big headline
100%.
is I don't even know which coaching firing is the big.
What are your thoughts on
Headline.
Doug Peterson?
I mean, the Jags are terrible. Let's be honest. But I don't know. I think they're in a similar situation with the Giants that their front office is also atrocious, and
Yeah, but they
someone
kept
has
the
to
GM,
be.
which was weird.
Yeah, it's again, it's another similar thing with the Giants, except I think the Giants is most egregious. But yeah, I don't know. I think Doug Peterson's a good coach. He was there for 3 years? Is that right? 3 years? I can't remember now.
I believe it was 3 or 4.
It's 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he has a losing
Right.
record. So I mean, they gave him a shot. It didn't pan out. I think they probably made the right move there. But I mean, the Jags are terrible. They're just a terrible team. This year especially. So I think a move was necessary. But I think Carlos is right. If you're gonna start with the head coach, you got to go with the GM as well. Especially when a team is in that type of situation that the Jags are in, where they don't have much right now to build around except for Trevor Lawrence. So we'll see if he can stay healthy and get healthy again, and they can continue to try to build around him, but they haven't done that. So yeah, it's kind of a messy situation there.
Some more questions from numerous teams as the weeks go on, I would imagine, as people have questions on who's staying, who's going. It's still pretty early. Also, the Bengals did fire their defensive coordinator for what that is worth.
That
But
one was surprising. That one was
Yeah.
surprising. Just because to me, it's
The
like
name,
they
it's a
didn't
big
give
name.
him much to work with. And he has done a relatively great job the past few seasons. This was the first year they didn't give him anybody to work with. So it was like, what did you really expect? And they they stored everything up there at the end of the year. They were actually
I was
playing
about to
pretty
say
good.
that. Yeah.
That's what I don't understand. That's the firing. When I saw that, I was like, I don't understand this. This one doesn't make sense.
Yeah, they got on that streak there to end the season, and the defense was a huge part of that for sure, making big plays. And sure, they were terrible that good portion of the season, but like Carlos said, they were able to turn it on at the end of the season when they had to win and get some help, which didn't end up happening to make the postseason. But yeah, I don't understand that. I think especially in that situation where a coach has no personnel to work with at all, it's a head scratcher for sure.
So with that sort of a look at Black Monday, we're not going to dive too deep into it, but again, getting into some of the matchups, obviously the Ravens getting a win, the Chiefs getting a win, the Commanders getting a win, all teams in respect.
Whoa, did you say Chiefs get a win? We didn't win. We lost.
No, I'm sorry. The Chiefs did not win. I'm so used to the Chiefs winning. It was just weird to see them getting shut out. But again, they clinched the number 1 seed. See, the Chiefs are so good. I'm like, oh wait,
They legitimately had nothing to play for. So
Yes.
legitimately,
We
yes.
did not.
So
We did not.
In all respects, the Chiefs had nothing to play for. They clinched the number 1 seed. The Ravens took care of business against the Browns. I mean, obviously the Browns not really much
terrible.
there.
Terrible team.
And the Ravens had to win to clinch their division. So there was something to play for. And the Commanders, they were in, but they were able to win, get the 6th seed, and Chicago ended up winning, which helped
We
by
do have
dropping
to issue a
Packers.
public apology to Josh Kirby for last week for saying that he was crazy and dumb for thinking that he had a chance to play Tampa Bay. And it turns out he was correct. And they ended up getting Tampa Bay. So we do have to issue an apology. Our bad.
Don't say we, because I didn't hit on him as hard as you did. You were smacking him around pretty well.
Stop,
verbally.
Dan. You were part of it too.
Roll the
okay?
tape. Roll the tape. Roll the
You
tape.
were part of it too. We are issuing an apology.
Ain't no we. See, this is what you do, Carlos. This is what you
okay,
bully people. You bully people.
Okay, Dan.
And then you say,
Dan.
I apologize on behalf of the podcast.
Okay, Dan. Okay, Dan. Okay.
Well, hey, I will say
receipts are about to be found.
All right, cool.
Hey,
if I'm a part of it, then I will join the conglomerate here.
Well, I was just saying, I heard somewhere there's a chance Washington plays Tampa Bay. Carlos was like, no, but I guess I heard it from bad sources, but my sources were correct. But if the Rams would have been,
in all honesty, it was a very slim chance of it happening, and it happened.
Yeah. But if the Rams beat the Seahawks, the Commanders would be heading to LA. But that is not the case. And Super Wild Card Weekend is upon us. I mean, just looking at the Commanders too. I mean, it was a game that they wanted to win, and they ended up winning. And Marcus Mariota came in and did Jaden Daniels like things and beat the Cowboys. But I will say it was a good win. A lot of growth, a lot of positive stuff coming out of that second half. Jaden Daniels, I'm not really worried. I know his leg was sort of feeling tight, but Dan Quinn was like, let's just get a Marcus Mariota. I agree with that decision, because if you're going to put Jaden Daniels out there against a Cowboys team, which the defense looked stout. Micah Parsons, what was that? 11 sacks total, 2 sacks in the game, if I remember correctly. And he's gotten 3 consecutive years of 10+ sacks. So the defense looked good for Dallas. Jaden Daniels, I think the leg was sort of getting to him. He wasn't able to be as mobile, and the receivers weren't able to catch the ball a lot as well. But for the most part, a win is a win. The Commanders got it done. It came down to a last-second game-winning drive, and I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. Another game-winning drive, and it wasn't even Jaden Daniels that did it. And Terry McLaurin just does what he does best and go up for the football to win the football game for the Washington Commanders. And, I mean, there was some meaning, because if you lose that game, you drop to the 7 and you travel to face Philly. So, in all honesty, I like this matchup against the Buccaneers better instead of the Eagles. But still, I'm just glad the Commanders got into the playoffs this year. For the big picture, there's still a lot to work on, a lot to improve on, but this is a good step in the right direction for the Commanders organization moving forward. But it was a great win, and I enjoyed it. It was a great way to cap off Week 18. And the Buccaneers, they traveled to face the Buccaneers, a team that the Commanders faced Week 1 of the season, falling to the Buccaneers. And the last time the Washington team, the Washington football team back then, played the Commanders in the playoffs, it was the elite Taylor Heineke game, and it was Heineke against Tom Brady. So some history going back with the Commanders and the Buccaneers in the playoffs. So I'm excited to see how it all shapes out.
Yeah, it should be a good matchup, and a good test for a rookie quarterback as well, who we didn't think was going to be in this situation at the beginning of the season. So it's going to be a test. I think it's going to be difficult. But I wouldn't be surprised if the Commanders can pull this one off.
But this is a good test in a sense that Jaden Daniels gets a taste of playoff football. Win or lose,
sure.
That is huge to get that experience year one in terms of what this Commanders team will work on for the next year. And there are a lot of good teams in this playoff race. I'm not going to lie, but Yeah, I'm not saying the Commanders are going to make it to the Super Bowl, but there's a favorable chance. And it would be very exciting to see this team make it out of the wild card. So, but pretty much there, I'm optimistic. What was that?
I said April Fools.
All right. I'm optimistic.
By the way, Dan, I do have evidence. I do have evidence, by the way, of you chiming in. While you are correct that I was the one who was mostly going at it, you did chime in as well. So, apologies from both of us.
All right.
Are due.
I will accept.
All right. I win that argument. April Fools, though, on you guys, getting out of the wild card.
Hey, I'm just saying it would be nice.
I'm just giving you a hard time, Kirby. I'm just giving you a hard time.
But, if not, I'm happy either way because a 12-win team.
You should be happy.
Yeah.
You should be happy.
An organization that went from 4 wins under Riverboat Ron Rivera to a 12-win team with a rookie quarterback and a brand new head coach. So, I mean, not to say Dan Quinn's brand new. He's been in the league a while. He knows how things operate. But
he's
a brand
new head coach to you guys. You didn't have to explain it. You didn't have to explain it.
After this season, can we officially stop bringing up Riverboat Ron in general? It's exhausting. Like, yeah, I understand you have a first year coach there, so that's probably why this year. But like, we're just tired of hearing about Riverboat Ron. Like, come on.
Yeah, well, apparently he might be getting more job interviews.
Oh my God, bro!
I don't know how people can think he's head coach material. But that's just me.
I don't know.
It's nuts.
I don't know. But Commanders win. I know, Carlos, you don't want to really touch on the Chiefs. Not a lot to play for, but they get the number 1 seed. A lot of rest coming.
We talked about that last week, so it's like it's not. There's nothing to discuss this week. Like,
yeah,
they're just moving on, preparing for whoever comes to them. Since they are the number 1 seed.
They play the lowest remaining seed. That is how it works.
We get to just watch. And see how you guys all kill yourselves, and we take the scraps.
And what is
some people have an easier matchup than others. Like you guys, Dan, the Ravens have a pretty favorable matchup with the Steelers because the Steelers
still
just are
divisional game.
I don't know.
Still tough.
You're right, but again, it isn't Baltimore. And you guys are playing great, and they are just in shambles right now.
Yeah.
Like they don't look like they're not going to be able to get it together.
No, for 4
especially
straight
after
weeks.
That forced showing against Cincinnati. Yeah,
they have waffled for sure in the last 4 weeks, no doubt.
Yeah,
we shall see. But yeah, I'm confident we're going to win that game. I think it's going to be closer than people think, though. To be honest. We'll see.
I don't think it'll be. I don't think it's. So I'm not saying you guys are going to blow them out like 53-6 or something like that. But I don't think it's going to be like. Yeah. But I don't think it's going to be all that, because when you guys played each other last time, it wasn't that close.
Yeah, it's true. That's a good point.
So that's what I'm saying. I don't think it's going to be like you guys score 50 on them, but I'm thinking it's going to at least be, I don't know, a comfortable 35 to like 17 game.
So similar to the last time. Yep. I can see that.
So like that's what I'm saying. Like when I think that you guys are gonna like win, because like I said, you guys. I mean, have we heard anything on Zay Flowers? Do you know, Dan?
He's day to day. So I would be surprised if he played, though. To be completely honest, if he played, let me think of how I would say this. But that he would play the full game, like 100. He'd be 100%. I think they would either like he would have like a pitch count per se, or he would just not play at all in this game.
Listen, I just got to say, the most exciting thing that happened on Saturday was that big man interception.
Yeah, this is pretty weird.
after that, the whole sideline went absolutely ballistic, like they just won a Super Bowl. I was like, "This is insane," but it was funny
It
as
didn't go
heck,
that
too.
ballistic, but it did go crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, they when they won the Super Bowl,
Uh,
that's when that I've seen that, so I know.
A Super Bowl ballistic sideline does not look like that.
Yeah, I know.
But
But that was for a regular season moment. It was pretty high up there, because no one expected to see that,
I
much
want to
less
say
to-
there was that, and then Sunday was probably Mike Evans getting the 1,000 yards.
Oh, true.
instead of kneeling, Baker gave him 5 more yards. So that's much respect for that. That's for
As
sure.
it should be. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it was a fun couple moments over the weekend for sure.
So
And
let's
then
go.
a lot of duds.
Let's go.
Always, every week this year there's been a lot of dud games. It's crazy.
Yeah,
So
but
let's-
week 18 is just a dud week usually.
Yeah,
It's really
yeah.
hard to watch a lot of these games because a lot of teams don't care because they
That's true.
already have their playoff positioning. So
Yeah.
it's like, what is there to really play for? Even Sunday night, the Vikings-Lions was kind of boring. It really struggled to keep my attention.
Yeah, the Vikings the defense for the Lions just stepped up big in terms of when the Vikings were trying to make stuff happen offensively. And that's what I was going to ask you next for the last game of the regular season, Sunday night for the number 1 seed. I thought it'd be a little bit more closer, but the Lions just all out. Jahmyr Gibbs, their defense. Whew, great stuff by the Lions.
I just think that the Vikings played just had a bad game, in my opinion.
They did.
I don't think
They were-
this
they
is
were just off from the
indicative
start.
to. Yeah, I don't think this is indicative to like who they are as a team. I don't think this is like. I know that a bunch of people are probably going to be jumping off the Vikings bandwagon now because they're like, oh, they got exposed or whatever. But I do genuinely think this is a good team, and actually, like this kind of might be. This could have been good for them because now they're going to be coming out for with a vengeance. And, they got a game against LA. LA hasn't really been the same since that Buffalo game where
Yeah.
they, put up all those points. They haven't been able to really do the same. And we don't count, week 18 because, they played all their backups and they still played decently. But, then last time they faced off, LA did beat Minnesota, but I don't know, man. I think Minnesota is gonna really surprise a lot of people in the playoffs here.
Yeah, I agree with that, Carlos, and that's part of my thinking too with going into the playoffs. I also think the Lions just fed early in that game off the momentum. They grabbed the momentum early in that game. They never looked back, and yeah, there's something special about that Lions team for sure. I know a lot of people would like to see them in the Super Bowl, but no, go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say really quick sure, I will agree 100%. There's something special building there, but you got to think all these injuries that they're suffering through. They lost more people in this game.
That's true.
It's gonna catch up to them.
Catches up to you
Because now they're not playing scrub teams. Now they are playing. And yeah, sure, I'm not saying Minnesota was a scrub team and they were able to dominate them. But now we're in the playoffs. And luckily they get the bye, so they're going to have time to heal up and get some guys back, hopefully. But I don't know, man. The Lions are a little bit of a red flag to me just because injuries will eventually catch up to you.
Yeah, agree. Especially in the playoffs, depth matters. Having your starters out there really matters. So, yeah, if they can't sort that out, then that could be a big issue for sure. But they're gonna have to get healthy fast, no doubt about it. But if anyone can motivate them, it's Dan Campbell. So,
Man, I'm not gonna say it.
Okay. That's fair enough.
His bottom teeth just are not great.
Bro needs orthodontist work, but what are you gonna do?
Anytime I get a glimpse of him, I'm like, get him off my screen. He's a great coach, though. I do
Especially the
love
big
his
screen.
coaching style for this team.
Yeah,
well, luckily they weren't on the bunker.
Yeah,
They were not on the bunker this week.
Yeah, I think both those teams could make a deep run. I think the Vikings especially because now, like Carlos said, people will sleep on them and people will not give them the respect that they've earned. And I think an underdog team going into the playoffs, but it's funny to call them an underdog because they still won, 14 games? is so funny to me to call a 14-3 team an underdog. But I could see that, and I'm sure that's going to be the narrative for them going into the playoffs. So, yeah, those kind of teams can kind of sneak up on people and make a run before you know it. So I think the Vikings could be that team. It's again so odd to think of them as an underdog, but I think just the narrative around them.
Like a quick memory of like a
Sure.
case of like a team losing in the last week or whatever. Think of the 2007 Giants, the ones that beat the Patriots. They lost to the Patriots in the very last game of the season, gave them a run for their money. Then they go out, make a run to the Super Bowl, and then beat them in the big game. Now, obviously, this won't be the same, right? Minnesota would face Detroit probably in the second round. So in the divisional round, if they get through. But that's, who's to say that they don't come back, and beat them, because Detroit's beaten them twice. It's hard to beat a team 3 times, like everybody says. So who's to say that they don't win the third matchup and end Detroit's dreams?
It's a great point. It would make for some good cinema for sure. If that happened,
it'd be heartbreaking for Detroit.
It would. It definitely would.
I would feel so bad.
Me too. And especially those fans have suffered for so long. Obviously, last year was a fantastic season. They made a deep run, but they came so close. Just a couple plays, really.
Mm-hmm.
And if they lost this year to especially the Vikings being a divisional opponent and stuff, oh man, that would be so brutal. But I could see it happening. I really could.
I can too.
Yeah.
So other than that, just collectively, Week 18, was there anything that really stuck out to you?
Not really.
No.
I think anyone
nobody really made a statement.
I mean, the Panthers knocked out the Falcons.
The Falcons were already eliminated at that point.
Yeah.
Because at that point, the Tampa Bay game had already ended, but the Panthers ended the season strong. I will say.
I was about to say, they were good down the stretch, so I think it's definitely going to give them some positive momentum going into next year with Bryce Young for sure.
Bryce Young, I think can be the guy there for now. We'll see how he does going into next season, but I think he really found his groove here in the second half of the season.
Started to really play well. Yep,
mm-hmm.
Totally.
So I'll ask you one: could the 32-20 Jets win over the Dolphins? Do we think that is Aaron Rodgers' final game?
Stop. I don't know.
He's going to do the same thing he's done in the past, where he's like, "Oh,
I know he's all about him. He's a freaking narcissist. Like he can't stand the attention not being on him. Just like when
I'll make my decision in April. Yep. He'll say, "I'll make my decision in April. I have to go be alone in the woods," and then he'll go on Pat McAfee every week, and just do what he does. He'll do what he does.
Milk it,
for all it's worth.
It's definitely his last game as a Jet. I don't think he comes back as a Jet.
No, I agree with that.
I do think there would be a team out there that would probably sign him.
Maybe 1-year deal.
He's just not. He's just not the Aaron Rodgers of old anymore. Like we've seen it.
He's not that guy.
And and for Devontae Adams, I mean, he's not coming back to New York. He only came to New York for Aaron Rodgers. If Aaron Rodgers is leaving, he's going to go somewhere else. Where he's going to go, I don't know. But I do think that was his last game as a Jet. I'm not sure if it was his last game as I'd say it's probably 60-40, 40 being that was his last game. I think he's going to probably come back next year because he's too much. He could not be in the spotlight right now, and he's going to try to give it one more go. I bet you.
I agree with that.
And then once he realizes, go ahead, Dan.
No, it was just like a couple weeks ago. I know he was talking about strongly considering it at the time, and it's just kind of funny how, like, now it's going to turn into something where all off season this is all we hear about, and we want to get an update on Aaron Rodgers. What's Aaron Rodgers going to do? And it's just going to become a media circus, quite frankly, I think. And that's what he wants. Like, he wants to cause, I don't know if you call it chaos or what you define what he wants to go for, but it's just going to become a circus, I think. regardless of which direction he decides to go. But I think he still plays. I think he plays one more year. I really do. Because I think he wants to finish on a high note, and he knows this was not a high note. And again, his ego and he wants to ensure that the last plays of his career are fondly remembered, not remembered for the negative things that happened this season. So, yeah, that's kind of my thought.
All right, and on the flip side, what are your thoughts on Tyreek Hill wanting out of Miami?
I get it. I understand it. But like he wanted, like Carlos said in our group chat, he wanted the money. He chased the money. That's all well and good. And just because the Dolphins aren't winning now, he wants out. And he definitely looks at the Chiefs and misses playing with Patrick Mahomes. I have no doubts about that. But I don't have sympathy for the guy, quite frankly. In that respect, he got what he wanted. He got his money. That's great. But that being said, would it be great to see him on the Baltimore Ravens? Yeah, that would be pretty cool. But we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Though that's the question. It just depends. What is Tyreek looking for now?
What
right?
What does he want?
Ultimately, his contract is pretty favorable to be traded for because there's no more big money on it, apparently. Just from everything that I've heard. There's no more big money on it. So it's a very favorable contract to trade for. Where does he want to go? Does Kansas City want him back? Because at the end of the day, we've won 2 championships since he's left, and we're contending for our 3rd straight since he's left. Because of that, of him wanting to leave and us trading him to Miami and him getting the big contract and all the compensation we got from Miami, we were able to build this defense, and that really helped us win these past championships.
That's a great point.
So with all that being said, look, Tyreek traded championships for cash, right? He wanted to go to Miami because he wanted to get paid more. It's not as if Kansas City didn't offer him a big contract. It's just he wanted more, and Miami was able to offer him that. So he wanted that, and out of respect for Tyreek, the Chiefs made the deal, right? And we got, we came out pretty much the winners on this deal, if you really think about it. The thing that about Tyreek is that, hey man, like any opportunity you had to to talk about the differences between Mahomes and Tua, he always tried to make Tua seem like he was the same as Mahomes and all this stuff. And granted, that's what you're supposed to do, right? You're supposed to gas up your quarterback and everything, but like, come on, man. Like, let's be honest here. Like, Tua's nowhere near Mahomes' level of talent or pedigree or anything like that. And he can't stay healthy. I'm talking about Tua. Tua can't stay healthy. Tua is just not a big time quarterback. He can't win in cold weather. He's not
dependable.
Nope. So he's not elite. And Tyreek is seeing now that, Kansas City has gone on to thrive, without him, and has really built up a strong legacy for themselves, and he's only a small piece of it
small
now.
Part of it.
Whereas before, whereas before he was like a primary player in it, but since then he's not part of the story. He's not part of this three-peat story, and I think he now realizes like, hey, okay, I got my money now. Like I've got life-changing money at this point, right? He got paid. He did get paid. Now I want to go for the legacy. But the problem is the team that could have given you that legacy, do they want you back? And if they don't want you back, which team is really going to give that to you? I do think Baltimore gives them an opportunity for sure. 100%. You're playing with Lamar Jackson. If they find a way to keep Derrick Henry for another season, that would be you have Zay and, Bateman and Mark Andrews and Isaiah Likely. Yeah, that's a solid team. Or do you go to, I saw somebody suggest, or Micah making the pitch, come to Dallas. You go to Dallas, you're not going to win anything. I promise you that.
Right.
So like, that's the thing. It's like, where do you go? How important, because another thing that the teams have to consider, who has the number 10? He's going to want number 10 where he goes, because that's synonymous with his brand.
That's a good point.
that's maybe a reason why he won't come back to Kansas City, because number 10 is taken by Pacheco, you know, and who knows? I don't know how important 10 is to Tyreek, but I would say that it appears to be, because he wore it there in Kansas City. He wore it in Miami. I don't know how big of a deal it is to him, you know? But yeah, look, I'm in the same boat with you. I don't have any sympathy in the sense of like, hey, dude, like you got money, like you knew what you were signing up for. He
did what he wanted to do, and more power to him. That's
yeah, you know, like I'm not gonna knock a man for going out and getting a bag,
Absolutely.
you know, but to then kind of quit on your team, and he did quit in this game because he took himself out in the fourth quarter. You know, to kind of quit on your team and then just be like, "Hey, I'm out, deuces." You know, that's funny. Because
he put that picture of that Photoshop of Antonio Brown, right? Was that?
He did, and I've seen a lot of people make that you know, that
it's a bad look
comparison.
It's a bad look
of hey, you know, why we gave Antonio Brown so much flack? Why are we not giving Tyreek this much flack? The difference being Antonio like legitimately walked out, right?
Yeah,
and made a whole spectacle out of it.
Yeah, he legitimately had issues.
And you know, he made a whole spectacle out of it. He also had a prior history, and Tyreek has had a prior history too. But for the most part, he's been on the straight and narrow for a lot of for the past few years. True. So I don't know. Look, we'll see what happens. We'll see if anybody's willing to, because it's got to be a trade. He's not a free agent. So we'll see what type of compensation Miami's going to look for, what team is willing to make that trade. You got to think Tyreek is also, I can't remember how old Tyreek is. I think he's going to be in his 30s here, if I remember correctly. So it's like, how many more good years does he have?
Yeah, he's 30.
Yeah. So like, how many more good years does he have,
year.
you know? Yeah, so
it's hard.
There's a lot to consider.
It's hard to be 31 and be a receiver. Yeah, to be
a receiver of his skill set, right? He's a speed guy. He's going to eventually start losing his step here soon. Right. You know, he's a very explosive guy. It's going to go away eventually. So it's like, how much are you willing to give up for a 31-year-old receiver? You know, are you willing to stay? I mean, you got to think Miami's going to want at least some form of compensation, the same that Kansas City got for him. Maybe not exactly to that degree, but they're going to want something of value in return for somebody like Tyreek. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But yeah, I'm in the same boat with Dan pretty much.
A lot of interesting stuff that comes out of Week 18. That's why I wanted to sort of, go off track a little bit to talk about that. But boys, I think it's time we take a commercial break and talk about this playoff picture and get our playoff picks, as the Kirby on Sports PickEm is heating up just a little bit. I'm looking forward to this, as it's going to come down to the very wire unless I screw up and end up deeper in the Kirby zone.
Very wire? It's down to the wire.
He tried. He really tried on that one.
Who knows?
Oof.
We're back for more after this, episode 221 of the Kirby on Sports podcast. For sports fans living in condominium and homeowners associations, as well as business professionals, when you need a reserve study, PM Plus Reserves has been in business since 1990. Their studies are accurate and easy to understand. Check them out when your association needs a study. www.pmplusreserves.com. You can also contact them at 703-803-8436. Once again, www.pmplusreserves.com. Is it finally time to upgrade your home's interior? How about with an authentic farm table made locally from recycled barnwood? Shenandoah Primitives, based right here in Winchester, Virginia, makes farm tables, benches, tables, coffee tables, and a long list of other items for your home decorating needs. At Shenandoah Primitives, function and style are combined for great furniture that will last generations. If you're interested in combining the industrial look of metal with wood, or considering something incredibly unique with a live edge, Shenandoah Primitives turns those ideas into reality. Thinking about a mirror, wine rack, or other accent piece for your home, Shenandoah Primitives can assist with that as well. As a local small business, Shenandoah Primitives is happy to work with each client for a custom design or schedule an appointment to come out and view current inventory. Local, high-quality, handmade items can be found at Shenandoah Primitives. Find us on Facebook and Instagram or visit us at www.shenandoahprimitives.com.
Winning sports teams thrive on alignment. Every player knows their role, trusts their teammates, and works toward one shared goal, winning. But let me ask you, what about your senior leadership team? Are they driving your business toward success? At Transformative Alignment Group, we help CEOs uncover and address the hidden drain on productivity caused by disengaged employees that cost companies millions annually. Transform your team. Transform your results. Visit tagalignment.com today. Don't settle for good when you can be amazing. That's tagalignment.com.
And we are back. I'm Josh Kirby, alongside the weapon Dan Dembski and the Swiss Army knife, Carlos Martinez. This is episode 221 of the Kirby on Sports podcast. Before we get to our pick'ems, ladies and gentlemen, first and foremost, let's just give you a lay of the land of the wild card for Super Wild Card Weekend on Saturday. It is a standing tradition that the Texans get a home Saturday playoff game facing off against the Los Angeles Chargers. Then on Amazon Prime, the Ravens hosting the Steelers. On Sunday, the Bills hosting the Broncos, the Eagles hosting the Packers, and the Bucs hosting the Commanders. Wrapping up on Monday night with the Vikings traveling to Los Angeles to face the Rams. It's now time for the Kirby on Sports Pick'em. What do you say we bring up this graphic and take a look at our picks?
All right, you guys can see it, right?
Yep, we got you.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Okay, perfect. Okay. All right. Well, welcome to the the Super Wild Card Weekend Pick'ems, brought to you by Anthony's Pizza, home of the Warrior. Yeah. Look, no, the standings didn't change last week because we all had the same picks, and we all pretty much have the same picks except for one game. Yes, the Kirby already went through all the matchups. We will be picking every single wild card game. We'll be picking every single playoff game from here on out. 13 games left, boys. We'll see how this ultimately ends up. So with that being said, a little history, if you will, boys. A little history, if you will. At this point in the season, I had a 71-37 record, which means I have about a 4-game improvement so far this year. So good on me. Dan was in first place at this point last year with a 72-36 record. He has a 2-game improvement, and this year is in second place, but it's fine. No need to freak out. He's within he's within a striking distance is a better word here.
There you go.
And Kirby had the most abysmal week 18 last year, went 1-5 and had a 60-48 record. 73-35, a 13-game improvement, and
well
is
done, Kirby.
2 behind me, 1 game behind Dan, and is in the race this year. So props to you, Kirby, for just actually being competitive this year and staying in it and not making it just a 2-man race like it was last year.
That's
Jesus,
right. Good job, Kirby.
But with that being said, I will announce my picks, of course, first as your two-time, and now strictly working towards getting the three-peat champion. I'm going to take the Eagles over the Packers. It seems like Jordan Love is hurt, and on top of that, they will not have Christian Watson, who whenever he is not playing, for some reason, this offense looks very off. And they're also missing Jair Alexander. So that Green Bay defense looked a little lost these past few weeks without him. So I will take the Eagles. I just think the Eagles are a better team. Also, Jalen Hurts, we'll see if he can get out of concussion protocol. He should. It's been 3 weeks since he got that concussion.
Oh,
so.
yeah, good point. Yeah.
Yeah. I will take the Bills over the Broncos. I think this is going to be a competitive game. But with it being in Buffalo, I think Buffalo is gonna get the win here. When I say competitive, I'm not saying like it's gonna be like a nail biter game. I'm thinking it's gonna be somewhere along the lines of maybe like 31-21 or something like that. But I think Denver's gonna be in it, and then Buffalo pulls away at the end. I will take the Ravens over the Steelers. We kind of discussed it a little bit earlier. I think the Ravens are on the upswing. They're playing great football right now. Defense is looking very good. And Pittsburgh is in shambles. Pickens is throwing fits left and right, only getting one catch, just not great. I will take Tampa Bay over Washington. I really went back and forth on this game because there's a scenario I could see Washington definitely winning this game. This is definitely the toss-up game, in my opinion.
Yep.
But I just think right now Baker's playing out of his mind. I think the Tampa Bay defense is much better than the Washington defense.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, I could definitely see Washington winning this game, so I wouldn't be surprised if Washington does win this game, but I'm going to go Tampa Bay. I will take the Chargers over the Texans. The Texans just have not been playing good football, and the Chargers have done pretty solid this year, honestly. And Harbaugh is going to get these guys ready to go. And they looked fantastic against the Raiders. And then I will take the Vikings over the Rams. I understand the Rams beat them earlier this season. This was also kind of a toss-up game for me. It just depends which version of Matthew Stafford we get. Do we get elite Matthew Stafford? But I just think the Vikings, like I said, I think they just had a bad game against Detroit, but I think I think they're still a very good team, and I think that they're going to do I think they can go into LA and beat them. So with that being said, I will now throw it to this podcast's favorite number 2, Dan Dembski.
Thank you, Carlos. Always appreciate being the podcast's favorite number 2. So Carlos and I hate to spoil it, we have the same picks, but maybe my reasonings will be a little different than his, so I will go through mine here. I'll start by picking the Eagles over the Packers. The Packers kind of limping into the playoffs, as Carlos alluded to, and I just don't sense a rhythm with this team right now. I don't think they're playoff ready, and they're kind of going through the motions right now. So obviously the Eagles are one of the most powerful teams in the NFL, definitely in the NFC, for sure. And that's why I think they will handle the Packers. I'm going to say they win by 10 points, I think. I think Jalen Hurts does get out of concussion protocol, as Carlos alluded to, and I think he has a great game against this defense. And I just think it's too much for the Packers to overcome, quite frankly, with the injuries and just given how they played. They've looked completely out of sync, in my opinion. So I'll go with the Eagles over the Packers. I will take the Bills over the Broncos. The Bills are, they've had a fantastic season. I have to give them credit. Josh Allen obviously playing at an MVP level right now. And the Broncos have been a fun team.
Is he the MVP?
Well, I mean, you know my opinion on that. I don't.
Do I? Do I, Dan? Do I know your opinion?
My
is
quarterback's
he
the MVP? You know, I'm going to say my quarterback's the MVP for sure.
I just needed you to put it on the record.
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
But it's a great race this year. It really is. And I wouldn't be surprised if Josh Allen does win it because he's played absurdly great.
I think Josh Allen's going to win it just because I think people don't want to give Lamar the MVP
fatigue.
Another year.
Agreed.
Exactly. Not saying that like Lamar is made a strong case for it. So
definitely.
About it. If he wins it, I'll be okay with it.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, the Broncos have been one of the great stories of this season for sure. But I think they're quite overmatched in this game. And the Bills have been there and done that. I think they're going to come out and take care of business. So give me the Bills. Obviously, contractually obligated to pick the Ravens over the Steelers, and I think I'd pick them anyway in this game. I think the Steelers right now are they're sputtering into the postseason, losing their last 4 games. They've completely become undone. As Carlos, I think, mentioned just a few weeks ago when I was critical that the Ravens could win this division, Carlos had a feeling that maybe he didn't say these exact words, but that the Steelers would come undone, and they did. So thank you, Carlos.
They had a tough stretch.
It was a tough stretch.
Then you guys did, and they still had to play Kansas City. So
Right.
I told you that we would give you help to win the division. So
and you did. So thank you very much. Yeah, this is a big game. I think Lamar comes out and plays really well, but I think most importantly they stick with the run because they crushed Pittsburgh's run defense the last time they played. So I think that's going to be a theme in this game as well.
I wonder how, because this is a Saturday night game, so that's a plus right there. That's a plus right there.
Right.
How hyped this stadium, because it's also against your biggest rival in Pittsburgh, division rival.
There's gonna be fans. There's gonna be Pittsburgh
I just
fans.
feel like
We know
the atmosphere. I just feel, and it's a night game too. So I feel like the atmosphere is just gonna be absolutely peak.
It's gonna be electric. Electric.
I'm actually super. I'm hyping myself up for this game. I'm actually really excited to see what it's gonna be like in Baltimore.
Me too, man. And I'm glad we drew them because there's nothing better than the potential to knock them out of the playoffs. It's just no sweeter thing. And yeah, I think we will win this game. And I think our defense will wreak havoc on Russell Wilson as they did the last time, especially late in that game just a couple weeks ago. So give me the Ravens over the Steelers. I'm going to take the Bucs over the Commanders. I agree with Carlos on this. This is a game I certainly kind of flip-flopped on. I wasn't really confident one way or the other. But Carlos is right. Baker is playing out of his mind right now. I definitely have concerns about Washington's secondary. We've talked about that week after week. I do think Washington's offense can keep pace with this Tampa Bay team. I have no doubts that Jaden Daniels can make some big plays. But I think in his first season, I think I just don't know if he's ready for this particular moment right now. I think maybe what's the word I'm looking for? Not that he's used all of his rookie energy to get to this point, but it kind of seems that way in my opinion. But again, just like Carlos said, I could see this completely being the opposite of what I'm saying, and I could see the Commanders winning this game because this to me is the biggest toss-up this in the Super Wild Card weekend for sure. I said it wrong. Super Wild Card weekend. But give me the Bucs. I'm confident that Baker, who again has playoff experience, and of course the Bucs. Yeah, a lot of playoff experience, and the Bucs are hosting. I think it's going to be tough for the Commanders to come out on top. So give me the Bucs. I'm going to take the Chargers over the Texans. Yeah, Texans do not impress me. We've talked about them extensively the last few weeks. And the Chargers just have the momentum this year. They have a new energy, a new life in their team that I think Jim Harbaugh has brought to this team absolutely has reignited the franchise. And, I think they will go to Houston here and win this game. And Herbert, I don't know if this will be Herbert's first or second playoff win. I'm not sure, but he doesn't have a ton.
Second, no. It'd be his second win. Because remember they lost the big one to Jacksonville.
That's right.
Where they had the 27-0 lead and then completely blew it under Staley.
Oh man.
This will be his second playoff game. Yeah, this will be his second playoff game.
That one still hurts. So, yeah, Herbert gets the win in this game, and it should be a fun matchup. And then lastly, I will take the Vikings over the Rams. Similar to the Commanders-Bucs game, this is kind of one I went back and forth on. But I think the biggest thing for me is the Vikings are definitely looking for revenge in some way after their performance last night. I think they will come out and they will have a great game against the Rams. And I'm curious as to how this Rams offense comes out, as Carlos alluded to. Matt Stafford is kind of a mixed bag. You don't know what you're going to get always. So he's kind of like a box of chocolates.
Yeah,
God, exactly. Man, great minds, I guess, think alike. But Yeah, Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold's going to get the playoff dub, I think, here on the road in LA. So, great way to cap off super wild card weekend. And with that, I will take it to your host, CEO, and current owner of the Kirby Zone. May not be for much longer, but for now he still is. Josh Kirby, over to you.
All right, so I'm going to start off by picking the Eagles. I think the Packers have a little bit too much to overcome here. We don't know the status of Jordan Love, I don't believe, but he was injured. Malik Willis came in, played against the Bears. There is no possible way Jalen Hurts is not playing this game.
I agree.
But their weapons, I think there's no way Jalen Hurts is not going to play in this game. He will be healthy, I guarantee you. I guarantee that. I think the Eagles come out on top against the Green Bay Packers. I would take the Buffalo Bills over the Denver Broncos, although the Broncos looked good or looking decent. Got a big win over Kansas City. Kansas City
second and third stringers.
Correct.
Let's not put too much weight. Let's not put too much weight on
really
that
a big win.
They're just too hyped. They got into the playoffs, but unfortunately, I think it's a first round exit for the Broncos.
Yeah, agreed.
I'm picking the Ravens.
Okay, pause real quick. Pause real quick. Imagine the media firestorm that would happen if Denver upsets Buffalo. Just imagine it.
I couldn't even imagine.
It would be enjoyable. It would be enjoyable as a Ravens fan to see that. I'm not going to lie to you.
I mean, it would be enjoyable as a Chiefs fan too, because it's like you guys really hyped up this Buffalo team year round, gave them all the passes and excuses
to lose to
and
the
Broncos. Couldn't even beat the Broncos.
Yeah.
But anyways, continue, Kirby. Sorry.
That would be great.
I'm picking the Ravens over the Steelers. The Steelers have gone into a deep slump in my mind, and I don't think they get out of it. I think the Ravens will take care of business. You know what they say, just keep on doing what they do best. Real fan Dan will be out there hyping the crowd up. It's gonna be a hype atmosphere in my mind. I will be picking the Washington Commanders as I am contractually obligated to do so against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and I will tell you, this will be a close matchup for sure. The Chargers over the Texans. I don't think the Texans have been playing all that great, so I'm picking the Chargers to beat the Texans and the Vikings to bounce back over the LA Rams. But I think this could be another close matchup again. I mean, it just depends because, again, you never know what the LA Rams are going to give you. But I think the Vikings come out, they're mad they lost to Detroit, and they get the job done against LA. So with that, that's
so real quick, before you move on, let's go with possible scenarios that could happen here. There is no change between me and Dan. There is none. There is no, I will be going into divisional round. I will be one game ahead of him no matter what. But he can also not fall behind at all. So there will always be just a one-game gap between us going into divisional round. What is going to be very interesting is, can Kirby close the gap here? Can the Commanders get Kirby into a position where
tied up.
Dan and Kirby are tied going into divisional weekend, and I'm one game ahead, where it's my team is in the equation here. So then I would have to make there's an obligatory pick there that you guys can pick against, right? So it's like this is a crucial week for Kirby here, because if he falls, I feel like if the Commanders let him down, I think he might be done. I can't say that. I can't say that because going into divisional weekend last year, I got 2 games down on you, Dan, and the Chiefs brought me back in, and it ultimately ended up winning it for me because they won the divisional round. You picked the Bills, you picked the Ravens in the conference, and then you picked the 49ers in the Super Bowl. So that's what got me the wins, right? To win the championship. So I can't say Kirby will be down and out, but it will be extremely hard for him to make that comeback because it was just me and you. he's competing against you and me. So
Right. It's tough this time.
So Kirby, this is a crucial week for you, man. This is very crucial.
I know.
This is why we set it up. This is what we wanted, right? We wanted a 3-man race to the end. This is awesome.
I know.
What else could you want?
But does he eliminate himself is the question.
Yeah, he could. He certainly could.
You can't say we set you up either this time because it's like these are the games. Like these are the 6 games.
I know.
Hey,
so
my
team's on there too. Commanders.
My team's on there too.
My team's on a bye, so I got free reign on all my picks.
You did. You certainly did.
So again, that's the Kirby on Sports PickEm. We're gonna hit one last commercial break, and we'll be back to wrap things up. Episode 221 of the Kirby on Sports podcast.
Hey there, Kirby on Sports Podcast fans. Mark Francis with Icon Real Estate here for you. Remember, if you have any real estate needs, buying or selling, I'm your guy. I would love to help you out. And you can also find me on my own personal podcast, Iconic Talk, where you get a chance to learn about the local real estate market and why Winchester is an amazing place to live. Reach out to me anytime, 540-247-1527, and find Iconic Talk anywhere you get your podcasts.
Bedbugs. The only thing creepier than thinking about them is actually having them. Trust me, you don't want to have them. Locally owned and operated Barrett Pest and Termite Services can keep you from having bedbug nightmares and infestations. Call 540-340-3922 to schedule your free inspection and consultation. If bedbugs are already in your home, we'll get rid of them so you can rest easy. We also specialize in keeping homes and businesses free of other pests, including rodents and termites. That's Barrett Pest and Termite Services, 540-340-3922.
It's Jason, General Manager at Shenandoah Music, here to tell you all about...
Jay, what are you doing here?
Well, Matt, I'm trying to tell the people about our selection of guitars, basses, keyboards, drum sets.
I know that, but I always do the radio spots.
You get to have all the fun. I want to tell everyone about our huge selection, unbeatable prices, unmatched service, and in-depth knowledge.
Jay, I really don't think now is the time to discuss.
So remember, folks, when you think music, think Shenandoah Music in Winchester.
The Cider House is now open on East Piccadilly Street in downtown Winchester. The Cider House is open starting at noon Wednesday to Sunday. Stop in for a wide variety of ciders on draft, as well as 4 Virginia beers, wine, and ready-to-drink canned cocktails. Don't miss our lunch specials featuring our house salad. We also have dinner specials too. Stop in today at the Cider House, located on Piccadilly Street in downtown Winchester.
Wrapping things up here, episode 221 of the Kirby on Sports podcast. And the next time we speak to you, Super Wildcard Weekend will be finished. We move on
for Wildcard Weekend.
And we will be moving on to the divisional round. Gentlemen, always a pleasure. The playoffs are here.
Let's go.
Well, for you guys, I still got a week before my team enters the fight. So I will be watching from the bunker. I will be rooting for, even though I picked the Bucks, I will be rooting for the Commanders, honestly, just because I do want Kirby to have some form of happiness here and not come on to next week's episode all doom and gloom and sad. And even if they... But, if they lose, hopefully they lost in a valiant performance and they played well. Yes. It's just Tampa Bay played better. And then Kirby can still come in very optimistic and happy.
We hope.
And Dan, for you, I mean, come on, it's the fucking Steelers. Come on, you guys got to beat them. Excuse my friend, but come on.
we got to.
Come on, man. It's in Baltimore.
No
I understand
excuse,
there's the Steelers voodoo with Lamar. I know there's that quote, but like in Baltimore, we saw that voodoo does not exist. So
it's gone now. It should be gone.
Get it done and book your ticket to go to probably Buffalo and kick some ass.
But kick some ass. Yeah. We already beat them once, so hey, why not?
But it was in Baltimore, it was earlier in the season, so we'll see how it goes in
Things have certainly
Buffalo.
changed. Yep. Things have changed.
Yeah. But at the same time, you guys are playing great, so it's not like I'm not that like it'll be a great matchup in the second round between you guys and Buffalo. But take care of the Steelers first before we look ahead.
We got to take care of business. Yeah.
Once again, a huge thanks to all of our sponsors. Don't Sleep Energy as well. Use promo code KOS Podcast for 12% off your order every single time. For the weapon, Dan Dembski, the Swiss Army knife, Carlos Martinez. I am Josh Kirby. Find the Kirby on Sports Podcast on all streaming platforms and all social media platforms. www.kirbyonsports.com. Thanks so much for tuning in. Until the next time, we say so long and peace out.